Hello out there, everyone. Today I'm going to do a twofer. These are two recent pickups from the used bin that I believe both came out just before the pandemic, 2019 or thereabouts. They both star Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots, and they're both quirky as hell. And the first I'll discuss is Vivarium. Of course, these are both Blu-rays. Vivarium came with a slipcase, which is always nice. And it's a really trippy movie. I feel like it doesn't entirely work as a story. I feel like there's some really interesting content in the supplemental section about sort of the connection between the prologue and the cuckoo bird and the film itself that sadly could have been weaved into the narrative a little bit better. But apart from that, I do think that there's a lot of really interesting stuff in here, and two terrific performances were given by Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots. Just love saying her name, Imogen Poots. I believe that's how you pronounce it. But in any case, what I find really interesting about this movie is just how it takes the pressure of new home ownership and this idea that being a householder is really the foundation of our society, and then it's the best way to describe it is it kind of almost like turns itself inside out. It's so weird. I don't want to again spoil it. I feel as though just giving my recommendation and talking a bit about it is really the best way to sort of introduce it to my viewers. Go in cold if you can. Highly recommend it. The PQ and AQ on this look pretty good. And again, the supplemental feature that's included in here is something that really, I think, helps the film narratively. It's just sad that they weren't able to weave that in to the screenplay itself and make more of a connective, just have more connective tissue into what they were trying to do with the film, which is a really interesting concept. I think it's an interesting film that mostly works, but could have been an all-time classic if they had maybe tweaked that screenplay a little bit. The other film is The Art of Self-Defense, also starring Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots, but then as well it includes Alessandro Nivola, who of course played Pollux Troy in Face Off, also was in the Sopranos prequel, and was in a film called, I want to say, Laurel Canyon, and was even quite good in a movie called Junebug. Like him as an actor quite a bit, in fact. He's really one of those good character actors that never seems to really take that next step, but I think he's left behind, or he has a solid body of work that acquits himself nicely. This movie is equally quirky, but in a different way, and it really unpacks sort of the toxic masculinity that you might find around karate dojos and those strip malls with people going there ostensibly to try to basically stick up for themselves and kick a little ass, which I don't fault in and of itself. I mean, having good body control and working on your breath and all of that is good, but there's an interesting commentary at work with this film that really goes into the sort of underbelly of that whole scene. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It reminded me a bit of Repo Man with some of its product placement, generic product placement. I thought it was, aping from that. But I think most importantly, what works is basically the three leads do a great job. There is a dark twist in the third act that doesn't totally work, but it's still a worthwhile film that I think represents some of the better independent cinema that's come out over the last 10 or so years. I know Jesse Eisenberg has his detractors, but I think in the right part, he's quite good, and I think he acquits himself nicely in this movie as well. So on that note, I would just say if you've not seen either of these films, I highly recommend them. The Art of Self-Defense, the Blu-ray is a little grainy, not quite as impressive looking as Vivarium, and I would have to say that if I wanted to rank the two movies, I would probably put Vivarium first and then The Art of Self-Defense, but I don't know. It's really close. They're both very entertaining movies, quirky as hell, and represent, I think, what's great about low-budget independent cinema. So on that note, please do take care out there, everyone. Stay safe, be kind, and by all means, keep watching good cinema.